All right, guys. Welcome back to another Pickled Dragon Unscripted. We got Dracoya here from far away, distant lands.
3,000 miles away.
That's a lot of hitchhiking, let me tell you. Well, in any case, so recently we did a video where we talked about drama around Shadowdark and how there were folks that didn't seem to care very much for the popularity. It seemed very jealousy, very jealousy. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot something. Whiskey. This is a Japanese whiskey. Why don't you tell them all about it?
Oh, yeah. So this is a Japanese whiskey. You can't call it Scotch because it's not from Scotland. But it's a Japanese whiskey called Kaigen. And it was aged in a Mizunara cask. Not entirely sure, but it's really, really good. If you guys have not ever had Japanese whiskey, even if you're not a fan of whiskey, I would highly recommend giving it a try. We've got notes of jasmine and rose initially with vanilla, toffee, and warming spices on the palate.
Yes, and the box is beautiful.
Yeah, the box is real pretty.
Yeah. So
Cool.
Yeah. And so I also wanted to mention to everybody, those of you who have been watching us for a while know that Thorum has been one of our longtime sponsors. They have beautiful jewelry that would accent any Renaissance fair outfit, or even an out-of-the-box wedding jewelry.
Engagement.
Yes.
A nice present for your lady.
Yeah.
For your man.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful jewelry. Now they have watches and necklaces and all kinds of things. Well, right now, if you go to thorum.com, thorum.com, and use promo code PICKLED20. Pickled 20. We've got a new...
Pickled 20. All right.
Yeah, Pickled 20. We got a new promo code. You can get a 15% discount on the jewelry, and that's, significant on jewelry. 15% off could be quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
So head on over there, check them out. They support the channel, so hopefully you guys like what they have to sell. But in any case... Shadowdark, yes. Because I was getting ahead of myself. I was zeroed in. So
too much whiskey.
Yes. So we saw the kind of jealousy, if you will. Some people didn't call it jealousy. Some people just couldn't wrap their head around why Shadowdark deserved so much special attention.
Okay.
In the comments, there were several people who were like, you know what? It's an OSR game, and there's lots of OSR clones out there. It's nothing special. Well, I'm going to come back and push back a little bit. I'm not going to argue with anybody about rules, because rules are subjective. Dracoya could tell me Monopoly is the greatest game known to mankind.
Which it's a pretty damn great game. I can never find people to play with. I play the thimble, by the way, if anyone's down.
But there will be others who might say Talisman's the greatest game ever. It's very subjective. So I'm not going to argue rules with you. But what I am going to say is if we all can agree that, one OSR style game, the rules wise is comparable to another. Okay, I'm not going to argue that.
Okay.
But what we can say is that Shadowdark is special, and there's a number of reasons why it's special.
Tell us why.
Well, the first thing is OSR games kind of have a rep for not necessarily being the best organized games, at least from my experience. I'm not gonna knock anyone else's experience. I'm sure somebody else. But, I have seen many people attempt to pick up an OSR game. I've been to many conventions over 40 years. I run games frequently in game stores. I try to get people to try old OSR games. And it's very confusing for them. It's very difficult for them to pick it up. But the way she organized Shadowdark, Kelsey Dion, it was very accessible and organized, and she won the Emmy for best layout and design.
That's definitely something.
I think with as many people who are now raving about the game, I think you have to at least admit there's something going on there that's not just because some YouTubers said they liked it. So, and that's not all. That is not my only point to this. The layout and organization is only one piece of the puzzle, I think, that makes Shadowdark special. Because again, you pick it up, you could pick up the rules quite easily. And I think that is special for any game. I think that is like a minimum requirement for any game, but has often failed.
That's true. How many of you guys have sat down with your friends and been like, no, it's a really easy game. 3 hours later, you're just now starting.
Yes.
Because people have so many questions, or the setup is insane. Like anyone who's ever played Axis and Allies can tell you that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or how many times have a board game come out or a role-playing game come out only that for them to reissue in a rotted rule book later online that's only in PDF form that nobody even has a clue that it exists. Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time.
Show of hands, show of likes.
Yes. So the fact that it's laid out so well and so accessible is a really important detail that can't be overlooked. Mm-hmm. The next thing I want to say, and this is more a... Go ahead.
No, this is our third point.
This is point 2. We're only on point 2.
I'm
yes.
so sorry.
We're still on point. Okay, this is point 2.
Okay.
This is something that has become much more prevalent, or really prevalent in the last few years, and that is Kelsey made the game apolitical. She made no value judgments, no moral judgments on any of the rules or on anybody who wishes to play or doesn't wish to play. She's very diplomatic person when it comes to the whole political arena.
Staying out of it. I mean, and Matt and I have made many a video saying exactly that politics and personal preferences and all that jazz has no place in our games. If you want to run that way, cool. You find yourself a group of people, go to your mom's basement, and you run it that way. This is not how we should play our games. It's a fantasy world.
It's true. And that makes, again, the game more easy to approach, more accessible, where people aren't worried, sweating over what kind of signals they're sending by playing the game. It's a silly thing. And it may seem, to some of you guys, it might seem like a small thing, but having been on the receiving end of some activist getting angry at my decisions at a game, or I've seen at cons, like people at a table, just trying to run a game and somebody not even playing in their game, someone watching. This is my experience, but watching their game heckling because they weren't making particular decisions. Being apolitical is, I think, a very important thing today.
Yeah.
Just play games, guys.
Just have fun. Go be nerds. Yeah. Go make friends.
So the last point.
Okay.
Well, not really the last point, but I'll get to the last point here soon. But the game is easy to learn, and part of that is due to the organization and layout, but also part of that is due to the fact that it is the blending of 5e, which is, it's the best of 5e. Let's put it that way. And I think that is probably debatable. Some people might not like long rests, and some people might not like this rule or that. But the game is so easy to learn, and that's not always true. And that's not always true of all games. I think OSR would be easier to learn if a lot of the games out there were a little more accessible. Now, accessible could be how the book is laid out, but it could also be, and this is really the next point, Kelsey's marketing genius, I don't know how else to put it, she put in the legwork to make connections with YouTubers. She researched best ways, the best places to put her ad spend. She put in the legwork before she spent a dime to make sure that she could reach as many eyeballs as humanly possible. And I think that is where a lot of game developers today kind of drop the ball.
They do.
You know?
They do.
And that's not necessarily their fault because they're game developers. They're not advertising agencies.
Yeah, but that's why you have different departments. That's why you hire external anyway.
Well, but the thing about that though is that game development traditionally has not been a place where you make a whole lot of money. You wear lots of different hats.
I mean, and that's true. And I have to commend Kelsey because her ability to do everything that she's done and then also wear the hat of somebody who's marketing shows an amazing skill set and an amazing ability to morph into whatever it is skills-wise that she felt she needed to get her game out there.
Yeah.
That's not something everyone can do. Any entrepreneur, any business owner can tell you that.
You know, and here is what, when you take all of that as a whole, you know, what makes Shadowdark so special is that Kelsey, you know, she is a beacon of kindness. I know, again, maybe I'm biased because she's a personal friend of mine, but I have never heard somebody that knows her or has met her multiple times that has not only had glowing words for this woman, but she is a beacon who, through her marketing, through her design of the game, through her development choices, attracted a large demographic of people to OSR style of game that would have never tried it before had she not stepped in. Now you could say that, oh well, I still don't think the game's, you know, special enough.
And that's fine.
And that's fine. You can have that opinion.
That's okay.
But the truth of the matter is that you suddenly have thousands of people. I think she had just initially 10,000 plus backers on her Kickstarter. And that's not to mention all the people who have purchased the book since then. But that's thousands of people who are now open to the idea of playing an OSR style game, who might down the road now start looking at other OSR creators and purchasing products from them.
You make a really good point. I think this is actually your best point so far. Because, and I've been saying this for years about people, if you can get them hooked on Candyland, you can get them hooked on Monopoly,
Yes.
which we should play.
Yes.
But if you can get them hooked on something that's easier and they can grasp those skills and those rules, then it does make the learning of something a little more advanced a lot easier. You can't usually jump into Axis and Allies. You usually want to tiptoe your toes into Risk first. You know, something that's a little more friendly, a little more adjacent.
Yeah, so I know that there are people who, you know, gamers have always been a very siloed, you know, group of people. We have, you know, it's why the edition wars exist. Why?
Yeah.
Well, I like first edition. I like fifth edition. You know, like that's why those things exist.
You know, one thing I've learned about nerds is we don't like change. We are not change-oriented people.
Yeah.
We are very resistant to change.
and it's like, you know, some people out there might like the old, you know, Moldavie box sets, and some people might prefer AD&D, and some people, you know, the truth of the matter is that as long as you're rolling dice and having fun and opening the doors to others, that's what's important. Yeah. And in this case, Kelsey opened the doors to an OSR style of play that I think can only benefit other OSR creators.
I would agree. I completely agree. Yeah.
So that's why Shadowdark's special, in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Let us know below. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? What do you guys think about Matt's points? But most importantly, what is your favorite board game and how many of these people are pro or anti Monopoly?
Oh, God. And what piece did you use in Monopoly?
And what piece did you use?
And don't forget that if you want to help us with our bar tab, you can become a premium member for a whopping 99 cents a month.
99 cents?
That's
wow!
I know. And you know what you'll get is the satisfaction of knowing that we will be
You'll be helping us continue to make amazing videos for you.
Yes, and we'll be cozily inebriated the whole time.
Yeah, because that's how you like us.
Yes.
And come back and have another round on us.
All right.